The roar of the helicopter blade slices through the air as it makes a rapid descent in precise formation. Sand kicks up around the engines as Commander Elias Navarro signals, and the Shadow unit moves into action. 12 men, all in black tactical, gear armed and perfectly synchronized. Their mission is simple: reconnaissance in enemy territory. Quick in and out, nothing unusual. But then, everything changes. A strange light appears, not a flash, not an explosion. A vibrant, pulsating glow that hangs in the air, bending reality itself. Silence follows, thick and total, as if even thoughts are being swallowed. When the team regains consciousness, the world feels different. The sky is the same, the sand still scorches underfoot, but something is off. The air smells of iron, burnt, wood, and sweat. Tracks on the ground are strange. No tire marks, no tactical boots, only deep ruts as if made by heavy sandals. In the distance, the sound of marching fills the air, accompanied by shouted commands, not in Spanish or Arabic, but in Latin. The soldiers realize too late. They have crossed an invisible boundary. They are no longer on a simple mission. They are trapped in another time. And time is coming toward them in perfect formation from a rocky hill. Navarro peers through thermal binoculars, but nothing makes sense. No electronic signals, no heat signatures from engines, just human figures, countless of them moving in exact rows. Then he sees it. Shields shaped like ovals, moving with precision. Helmets glinting in the sun as though freshly polished. Red crests waving proudly. Banners with golden eagles and roaring lions, symbols of long-lost legions. Every step pounds, the ground hypnotic in rhythm. Delgado, a veteran of ambushes in favelas, jungles, and deserts, struggles to make sense of it all. Maybe it's a simulation, a strange cult, or a group of reenactors. But nothing about this feels staged. These aren't costumes. These aren't replicas. The spears are real. The men sweat. They carry the burden of actual warfare, not some performance. "This can't be real," he whispers. But it is. The banners are genuine. The Latin commands are shouted with military precision. The marching formation matches what Tacitus and Caesar described. Polybius. Navarro isn't a historian, but he knows exactly what he's seeing. A Roman legion. Not a reenactment, but a fully armed, combat-ready unit. He instinctively reaches for the radio. Nothing. No static, no signals, just silence, thin and empty. One of the men approaches, voice low. "Boss, this is Rome." Navarro doesn't answer. He only watches. In that moment, standing before an army that shouldn't exist, he realizes they are no longer on a simple reconnaissance mission. Navarro moves down the hill with careful, precise steps. Behind him, the team spreads out, taking cover. These are no ordinary soldiers. They are an elite unit, trained for operations where mistakes are deadly. 12 operators, each with a deadly specialty. Night infiltration, sabotage of infrastructure, long-range scouting, elimination of high-value targets. None of them expected to face Rome, but they all know how to kill. Their weapons are cutting-edge, M4 rifles with holographic sights, silencers, tactical flashlights, and armor-piercing rounds. Santiago Ribas, the sniper, holds a Barrett 50, designed to punch through concrete at 2,000 meters and capable of killing with a single shot. The team also carries Glock pistols, fragmentation grenades, motion sensors, and C4-shaped charges, an arsenal built to eliminate targets before anyone even knows where the attack came from. But a troubling thought presses on Navarro. All of this power is designed for modern combat. Fast surgical strikes, quick retreats, urban streets or dense jungles. Missions with a clear start, middle, and a timed finish. Not for holding ground. Against 5,000 men armed with shields, spears, and unwavering discipline. They have superior firepower, yes, but their ammunition is finite. There are no supply lines. Time is working against them. Weapons can kill, but they cannot sustain a prolonged battle. And the formation approaching is clearly meant to endure, not yield. Delgado steps closer, uneasy. If they attack all at once, how long can we hold? Navarro doesn't respond. He calculates in his head the number of magazines, reserves, escape routes, but no answer feels sufficient. Technology is powerful, but even the sharpest weapon is useless if it cannot be replenished. The Legion moves forward like a wave. They do not run. They do not shout. They march with the quiet confidence of those certain of victory. At the front, one man stands out in polished armor, a red cape flowing, a helmet with twin plumes. It is Lucius Aurelius Gracchus, general of the Legion, descendant of commanders who triumphed in Gaul, Judea, and Pannonia. Beside him is Tiberius Maximus, veteran advisor and strategist from campaigns in the East. Both scan the terrain with expert eyes, showing no sign of fear. The cohorts advance in tight formation, 3 compact lines of infantry. The front line, soldiers carry curved scutum shields, each one overlapping with the next, forming a solid wall of leather and metal. Every shield covers half of the soldier next to them. Behind the front line, the Hastati ready their pilus, heavy javelins designed to bend on impact, neutralizing both the enemy's shield and the arm that wields it. A simple, ruthless, and highly effective weapon. Then come the gladius, short, deadly swords designed for close combat, capable of delivering fast, precise, and lethal strikes. The legionnaires' foreheads shine with sweat, but their focus never wavers. Centurions move among the troops, shouting commands with trained voices, maintaining order amidst the chaos of the battlefield. Their horizontal helmet crests mark them as officers, symbols of authority. Every command is immediately followed by coordinated movement. Discipline is absolute. The march beats on without fail, driven by drums and the rhythmic pounding of sandals on the ground. Above the ranks, banners rise, golden eagles, bulls, lions, each representing a legion. Every emblem carries stories of victories, sieges, and massacres. They are not here by chance. They are here as a statement, as though the empire itself has responded to the presence of these strange men wielding invisible weapons and speaking an unknown language. From his vantage point on the hill, Navarro watches silently. The operators beside him are ready, holding their positions because what they face is more than just soldiers. It is centuries of military mastery, a doctrine built on fear. Observation time is over. The Legion has formed its ranks. Navarro gives a subtle gesture, signaling action. Santiago Ribas is already in position, steady and focused. His finger rests on the trigger of the Barrett 50, his breathing calm, his sight adjusted with millimeter precision. The target, a centurion at the front row wearing an ornate helmet with a side crest, a clear symbol of command. The shot cracks through the valley like rolling thunder. The sound shatters the tension. Moments later, the centurion's head is gone, a spray of blood and bone marking the impact. The Legion's front hesitates for a split second, confused. They look around in panic, never having seen gunpowder, never having heard a gunshot, unable to comprehend dying before even seeing their attacker. But the hesitation lasts only a moment. Roman discipline is stronger than fear. The soldiers quickly return to their formation and keep advancing. Delgado gives the order. The machine guns roar to life. Sharp bursts rain down the hill like a relentless storm. Bullets tear through shields, pierce armor, and rip into torsos. Men fall by the dozens. The ground becomes a chaotic mix of blood and dust. Screams mingle with the metallic clang of impacts. Within seconds, the Roman front is shattered. Bodies pile up. Shields lie broken. Gladius swords scatter across the battlefield. Yet none of this slows the advance. The rear ranks move forward to fill the gaps, closing with exact precision. The piles of fallen rise behind them. The march never stops. It feels like facing a living machine. Every death is absorbed. Every loss replaced. There is no panic, no retreat, only obedience. Navarro feels a shiver. What was meant to be a containment mission has turned into a slaughter. Yet the Legion continues without hesitation. Rome does not stop, and neither do they. The gunfire continues, dry, relentless, echoing across the field like ancient curses. Men fall before they even hear the shots. Heads explode. Torsos are torn open. Shields shatter. Blood flows like a scorching river. The Romans cannot understand it. The enemy is unseen, The sound is unlike anything they've heard. The pain is immediate. To them, this is not war. It is sorcery. In the middle ranks, one soldier kneels, crossing himself and praying to Jupiter. Another clutches his amulet and kisses it. A third cries out to Mars, desperate for protection. The field at the bottom of the hill is littered with bodies. A human mound of broken shields, empty helmets, and Roman weapons stuck upright in the ground like crude markers. The shadow unit watches silently, breathing heavily, sweat running down their faces, hands shaking. Delgado changes the magazine for the third time, his fingers raw from pressing so hard. Rebus wipes the lens of his scope, covered in dust, sand, and tiny fragments of bone. The field is littered with death, yet the Romans do not stop. They march over the fallen, crushing chests, snapping bones, ignoring screams. Their ranks refill with frightening precision. Where one falls, another immediately takes the place. There are no verbal commands, no backup plans, only movement. Navarro watches, a strange recognition stirring inside him. This is the same principle modern elite soldiers are taught, the 40% rule. When the body thinks it has reached its limit, the mind still holds 60% more. The Romans live by this rule with a fanaticism that is almost impossible to comprehend. Delgado breaks the silence. These guys are not afraid of dying. Navarro does not turn to reply. His eyes track the advancing formation, respect and calculation in his gaze. They were forged for this, he says quietly, in fire and blood. A new sound cuts through the air, not footsteps but the creak of wood under stress, ropes twisting, metal grinding. Ballistas emerge behind the infantry, massive siege engines mounted on oak wheels pulled by oxen and soldiers. Each has a torsion arm powered by braided tendons and hemp ropes, carefully operated by engineers in simple tunics, hands rough, eyes precise. These are no ordinary catapults. They are precision ballistas built to kill, not to topple walls, but to pierce bodies, hit exact targets, and break formations. Their iron bolts over a meter long can pass through multiple men in a line or penetrate wooden barriers as if they were paper. Ribas zooms in through the scope, his eyes widening. At the sight, Navarro immediately senses the danger. Until now, the shadow unit's main advantage had been their range. But with these weapons in play, that advantage is at risk. The shadow unit had been untouchable, until the ballistas changed everything. One of the siege machines is ready. Ropes are tightened. The massive projectile is set like an enormous arrow. One soldier signals. Another turns the crank. Tension builds. Navarro reacts instantly, giving the order to relocate. The team leaves the top of the hill, scattering to find rocks, depressions, or any natural cover. Their technological advantage remains, but their invincibility is gone. The first ballista bolt screams through the air like metallic thunder and crashes nearby, sending stones flying. In that moment, everyone understands the new reality. Rome is fighting back, and chaos is only beginning. A silent trap lies in wait. Delgado had intentionally left a tactical backpack on a rocky rise, positioned along the line between the two forces. Inside, a molded C4 charge with a remote detonator and a proximity sensor. The shadow unit knew the Romans were disciplined, methodical and curious. After the initial bombardment, the front line hesitates. A group of tribunes and centurions approaches the backpack. They inspect it, discuss it, unsure whether it is a sacred object or a weapon. One younger soldier kneels, touches the zipper, and begins opening it from the top. Delgado adjusts his aim. The detonator is in his hand. Without hesitation, click. The explosion is instantaneous and devastating. A column of fire erupts skyward. The blast tears limbs apart, shatters shields, and hurls stones and bodies into the air. The Central Legion banner, the symbol of unity, is ripped in two. Nearby officers are obliterated. Dust rises, screams fill the air, confusion spreads, and commands clash amid the chaos. The Roman command center has become a void of authority and control. For the first time in the battle, the structure of the legion wavers without its leaders. The wall falters. Some formations break into disorder. Soldiers call out names that go unanswered. Tribunes run in confusion, directionless. For a brief moment, the Roman machine stalls. From their position on the hill, the shadow operators watch silently. There is no celebration, only a quiet sigh of relief. For the first time, Rome has bled and felt it, yet they know thousands of soldiers remain. The core may be fractured, but the legion is still alive. What comes next could be even more unpredictable. Smoke from the explosion drifts through the thick, acrid air. Parts of the Roman command lie charred. Banners are on the ground. The legion structure has lost its nerve center, but it is not defeated. Surviving centurions regain control. Fallen banners are raised again, hands trembling but determined. Shouts cut across the battlefield like whips, restoring partial order. The wounded and staggering legion rallies. Above, Navarro watches coldly. The shadow unit's weapons still function, but they are reaching their limits. The cannons are hot and blackened from continuous fire. Sweat runs from the operators, more from tension than heat. Delgado reloads with bloodied hands. Rebus has emptied his last box of 250 rounds and holds his backup rifle. The team is fully in survival mode. They have technology, yes, but it is finite. They have a tactical advantage, but every passing minute erodes it. The Romans, however, are infinite in will. They do not tire like normal men. When one falls, another steps in. When they fail, they learn through blood. This is not a war between equals. It is a test of endurance across eras. Navarro knows the terrain has given all it can. He calculates the distance to the armored vehicles in his mind, 600 meters. Extraction is still possible. He gives the order, not out of fear, but with clear, calm authority. The shadow unit will leave the hill. It is not cowardice, it is reason. 12 men against 5,000. No ammunition remains to withstand another wave. They descend quickly, moving in coordination, covering flanks and rear. Engines roar as the vehicles start, tires crunching against the dry ground. Suspensions creak, weapons are repositioned. No one speaks. Every eye scans the horizon, alert for pursuit. But what appears is not what they expect. In the distance, a thick cloud of dust rises, kicked up by dozens, perhaps hundreds, of helmets. Metallic, rhythmic sounds fill the air. Navarro instinctively breaks his gaze to the rearview mirror. Something approaches, and it is not Romans. It is another nightmare from antiquity. Horsemen covered in lamellar armor emerge, bodies protected in metal plates up to their eyes. Long spears held firmly in their hands. The heavy cavalry of the Parthians has arrived. They strike the exposed flank of the legion with relentless force. The Roman wall, so solid and precise, crumbles under the impact. Men are thrown aside. Shields shatter. Spears pierce torsos. Commands are lost in the chaos of dust and blood. The cataphracts do not stop. They trample, stab, and crush. They are the force Rome always feared in the east. Behind them come horse archers armed with recurved bows, shooting while riding, twisting their bodies, aiming backward. Arrows fly in deadly arcs, cutting through the air like lethal swarms. The Romans have nowhere to hide. The gaps torn open by the cataphracts have become deadly corridors. Navarro and his team watch from their vehicles, stunned. They never could have predicted this. While they were fighting an impossible battle against the legion, another force had been waiting, observing. Chaos reigns. Roman order shatters. Only torn flesh, steel clashing, men shouting in Latin and Persian, and death remain. The shadow unit stays silent, exhausted, covered in dust and traces of combat. There is no celebration, no triumph. But neither is there defeat. The original mission, rapid reconnaissance in hostile territory, has been obliterated. The world they knew, with its logic, maps, and certainties, no longer exists. Only the inexplicable remains. And one thing is certain, no one will ever fully understand what happened here. Navarro grips the steering wheel and lets out a short, dark laugh. I want to see the archaeologists' faces when they find a Roman skeleton with 556 holes in its thin chest. In the passenger seat, his face streaked with dried blood, he smiles sideways. We're going to become legends. And maybe it's true. Years later, excavators might uncover fragments of Roman helmets alongside modern ammunition casings. They could find ancient bones perforated in ways impossible for weapons of that era. The only explanation would be dismissed as impossible, because for a fleeting moment, two worlds collided, past and future, and waged a war where neither gunpowder nor steel could erase the discipline of Rome or the brutality of modern firepower. Now ask yourself, what if this really happened? Could today's technology break the spirit of Rome, or would centuries-old discipline still triumph in the face of modernity? If you enjoyed this story and want to see more impossible battles like this, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share your thoughts in the comments. And as always, may Mars guide you in battle.